Welcome back to What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur. I'm Vincent Lanci, speaker and author of the book Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption. Want to know what it's really like to be an entrepreneur? Well, you came to the right place. Whether you're already an entrepreneur, are looking to start your journey tomorrow, or are just someone who needs a little extra motivation to get through the day, this is the perfect podcast for you. This is the place where you will learn exactly what it's like in the world of entrepreneurship and hear authentic stories of entrepreneurs grinding on each episode. My goal for this podcast is to help you realize that giving up is never an option. Before I introduce my guest, I'll share another entrepreneurial story to inspire you all. We all know the name, but I got the details of this story off the biography website in Jeff Bezos. Bezos loved computers ever since he was old enough to do so and studied computer science and electrical engineering at Princeton. He got a great job on Wall Street with the Princeton degree and became the youngest senior VP at D.E. Shaw, which is an investment firm. Although he was on track to become extremely successful in the corporate world, as many of you listening in did, he eventually quit the secure and guaranteed paycheck. He wanted to follow his dreams, and I think it's safe to say we're all glad he did. When he quit his job, he wanted to open up an online bookstore called Amazon.com. Of course, like many entrepreneurs, he wasn't satisfied with just one bite out of the cookie. Either was Bezos. He next purchased the Washington Post in 2013 and then Whole Foods in 2017. He's an e-commerce pioneer and a true entrepreneur. What's next, many ask? The next thing for him is founding this company called Blue Origin, which is a space exploration program. There's not much he can't do. Hey, Ricky, what'd you think of his story?
I think it's great, dude. I think Jeff Bezos, obviously his work speaks for himself, his work ethic, his mentality. I read up a lot on him previously before this. So his whole day one strategy will always be day one. And, Amazon is what it is, probably because of that mentality. So excited to be here.
That voice you all just heard, that's my guest on today's show. Somebody you probably could have guessed I met from the definition of networking. A previous guest came on this show and said, Vin, I got somebody else that would be great for you to interview. This referral gives you an in-depth episode ahead because his startup company is something real cool, something I couldn't believe wasn't already done, and his hard work is starting to really pay off. I'm impressed by his work ethic, and I'm glad to have him on the show with this disruptive idea and product in a different way than Amazon, but disruptive in that similar way. I'll now introduce Ricardo Rodriguez. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Hey, man. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Absolutely. Can you go ahead and preview a bit of your story before we hop into the questions and end up what you're working on today?
Yeah, absolutely. Story goes back all the way down to January in 2015. So, wow, 5 years. That's a long time. I first came up with the idea of Hopscotch. Hopscotch was initially supposed to be just something to purchase tickets inside of a club or to get inside of a club so it's easier on the user so you basically wouldn't have to carry cash. Fast forward 5 years later, here we are. We now have an MVP product launched since late November. We're starting to get users. And to give a little bit more in depth about the product, we actually allow the user to see inside of a club or bar before they get inside so they can see and feel how this environment is and they can make a better decision on going out. This is all done through custom built cameras that we did. We built these cameras for less than $100 and we're starting to enhance them now. So they're getting a little bit over 100, but people are really, really impressed with how fast we're working and what we're doing. So
I remember when we first connected together, you said, hey, Vin, I'm actually standing on a ladder right now putting in this camera. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, you called me. I was literally on top of a stool. I was putting up a camera with one hand. I had my phone on my shoulder, and then I was holding another it's like a product so that we can basically see how it looks instead of uploading it. I don't know, nerd shit. I'm answering this call whether I'm doing this or not, so.
Great. Well, something I do each week is I have something called the Big Five. Each guest I bring on the show, I ask these 5 questions to help the listeners learn what it's really like to be an entrepreneur. You ready to go, Ricky?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
When did you realize that you weren't happy with what you were doing or you just needed some sort of change to become a full entrepreneur?
Well, back in 2015 is, I kind of was, I asked myself three focal questions. I asked myself, what do I like to do? I was at a valet job, wasn't making money. and just wasn't really happy with where I was at that time. And I asked myself, what do I like to do? It was go out. It was, can I solve a problem? Yes. The catalyst to this was unhappiness. And there was a lot more aspects of my life where I was unhappy instead of just my job, like school and other relationships and just comparing yourself to other people. And I don't know, I really didn't feel good with myself and where I was at and where I was heading. So I was in the dumps.
Absolutely. Well, you came out the dumps and you got a cool product on the way. But now as you move into this full entrepreneurial journey, what would you say one or two of the most difficult parts of being an entrepreneur are?
Dude, it's so damn hard. There are multiple facets that are difficult about the startup life. I just had a meeting today with my co-founder and my dev team, and then afterwards, me and my dev guy, his name's Jordan, and we were just talking. And you've got to make methodical decisions by yourself. You have to be able to make dynamic decisions. You have to be able to make decisions that are going to scale. And when you think you've thought of it all, you really haven't until you have that meeting or that VC pitch and someone just rips on you, man. So that's definitely one of the hardest things. I think the next hardest thing is, dude, you're bootstrapping, bro. Like, I put up my own money. I put up $50,000. I was smart with my money before I invested into my company and myself, but it got down to the wire, dude. I mean, it got really down to the wire. And luckily, I was able to get to a $20,000 angel investment just recently, a couple months ago, or about a month ago, and kind of just took me out of the water. I was drowning, and now onto the VC room.
Yeah, congratulations on the angel investment. One of the hardest things of entrepreneurship is sure the financial constraints. You have all these ideas that you want to start moving along with as quickly as possible, but you can only move as fast as you can. So definitely can agree with that one. What would you say one of your greatest failures is, Ricky? And what did it teach you? Why is it still sticking with you today?
Dude, greatest failures. Oh God, so many. Definitely going against my gut, man. I will never go against my gut. When I have a gut feeling about a person, about a process, anything, if I go against it, I think every single time I've always kind of been like, damn, I shouldn't have done that to myself. So whatever people believe in, whether it's God or it's good vibes or it's a universe, go to that and go with it. Go with your gut. I have lost over $4,000. I gave equity to the wrong person, and a lot more small projects where I lost money on. So definitely. So my family friend had given me really, really credible advice that I still take to this day. He always told me, follow it with your heart, your mind, and your soul, right? If they all don't align with what you're about to do, don't do it. It's okay to wait. It's okay not to go through with it. But as long as those three go with what you're doing, you're either A, going to win, or you're B, going to learn a damn valuable lesson. And you won't have any regret. So that's definitely the advice that he gave me that I still carry to this day. And this is a guy or I think he might still be. He's on the Google advisory board, Amazon advisory board, sold his company to Microsoft. Really intelligent guy. So.
You said your friend gave you that advice how long ago?
He gave me that advice. So he was the first person I went to. Well, as soon as I got the idea, I was like, man, I'm going to Asif. That's our family friend. He hasn't changed since I've known him, and that's what I love so much about him. I went to him immediately and I said, hey, I'm starting up this project, and that was one of the questions. I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's gonna be hard, And then years go by, and it's like, wow, this is really, really hard. Entrepreneurship is definitely not for everybody, and that's okay. People need to stop glamorizing this thing that it's like some kind of high and mighty job. It's hard as hell, dude. It's so hard. It's so lonely. There are many low days. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I find myself getting wrapped up in my work, and the loneliness is real, especially if you're used to being out or surrounding yourself with friends and things, because you're working on your own clock, and there's a lot of things to do, a lot of hats you have to wear, not enough hours in the day, for sure. If you could choose to have a conversation and learn from any
Yeah.
entrepreneur, Ricky, Dead or alive, who would it be?
Steve Jobs, without a doubt.
Why are you picking Steve Jobs? What are you talking about?
Definitely picking Steve Jobs because of his design mentality. He's very meticulous about how he goes about building his projects. Read his autobiography and you'll see how much passion he just exuded into all of his projects. Some people have a bad image of Steve Jobs in their head because he was so tough on people. It's passion. He was so passionate about what he did. Yeah, definitely he could have gone about it a different way, but dude, look what he built. Like, I would love to have that conversation. And I'm glad you asked that, dead or alive, because I honestly do think that people can still have mentors that are dead or that they don't know. You know,
I
you
agree,
can
man.
learn and live. Yeah, you can learn and live vicariously through people, like through a YouTube video or through a book or, a story, So,
Absolutely. Well, now that you got your food off the ground, already got an angel investment, you've already dumped all your money into this endeavor. Where do you see all of your entrepreneurial endeavors in 1 year and 5 years from now? So 1 year from today, what are we hoping for?
dude, 1 year from now, we're definitely looking for um, definitely all of Orlando that I want to do. Like all of the clubs that I want in Orlando, all contracted. And I do want to delve into Tampa. I do want to delve into the other big college Florida scenes like UF and Tallahassee, and really start to build honestly in the first year. In 5 years, bro, I want to be big. I want to be big, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is something that I want to build into a more than more than $100 million company, and I can definitely envision it. I can feel it, and I can see it. Nightclubs and bars are just the beginning. This is not just what Hopscotch is going to be known for. We're definitely going to have a pivotal moment, and we're going to get into the social media side of things, the social aspect, like how people can make money off the app. There's a lot of good things that we're going to pivot once we get our niche market, which will be nightclubs and bars. So
Absolutely, because it does so many things. A, and markets the club, it gives the club the marketing ability. And the other side of it, you're seeing if it's worth going yet, or you want to hold out a little bit. It's awesome, man. I mean, as I said earlier, I really can't believe it wasn't done yet. And now here you are on the show, season one. We're definitely going to have you come back in a season or two when we see this thing start taking off across Florida, Ricky, man. I'm excited for you.
Absolutely. A lot of people haven't done it because I think it's, the time and the execution. Execution is the hardest thing, dude. If you go in and you look at all the competitors in my space right now, they're all doing the same thing. They all have the same UI and UX. They all have the same flow. They all have the same bleeping clutter, dude. They're doing it wrong, and that's why it hasn't thrived in this market. So I'm a big people's person. I'm a big relationship person. And I know when I get in front of these club owners, I know how to build that relationship and I know how to keep it. So I'm excited for my hurdles.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ricky. I know our listeners see all the value in your episode today. I personally enjoyed how you believed in yourself so much, where all of your money you saved, you actually devoted to yourself. A lot of people want greatness. A lot of people want this huge company, but they're not either A, willing to allocate their time, their hours, working 15 hours a day, or invest every penny they have in themselves. And I'm proud of you because it's going to pay off. I'm sure of that. It's time for the last word, Rick. Is there something you want to share with everybody listening in that we did not get to touch on today?
Be a great human being. I don't care if you're just starting out. I don't care if you're making $100 million. I'm fortunate enough to be working at a golf and country club where I'm surrounded by multi-millionaires. And they give me the time of day. And I have an advisory board with some of these guys on there that are extremely brilliant. I'm not the smartest guy in the room by any measure, but anytime someone comes to me, I'm going to see what I can do to help them. Whether it's honestly monetary, advice, direction, guidance, just getting them out of a hole, being their soundboard, make them feel important, honestly. Give them time. So be kind.
I love that. I was reading something the other day where it said about 70% of the people in this world are way more selfish than willing to help. And for people that are willing to help, I think it starts to pay off after a while. When I left the job just strictly for money in a finance office and I started doing 100% philanthropy related activities, whether it's this show, trying to inspire people through entrepreneurship, my mental health podcast, trying to help people that way, my quality of life's improved right away. But Rick, you mind sharing your social media, your website, ways for everybody to follow you around, follow this product?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely go check out onhopscotch.com. If you go to the App Store, we're only on iOS right now for all my Apple users. Go type in Hopscotch, find the party, FTP. And then if you go on Instagram, go to Hopscotch FTP, and you'll see all of our content there, all of our updates, and we will definitely keep you guys posted. So.
Great. Thank everybody check out those networks. Remember, you all can follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at your favorite morning podcast and on Twitter at Podcasts by Lanci. My handles are at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media and YouTube, and my website is vincentalanci.com. Be sure to check out my book, Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption on Amazon now, and be sure to DM me or email me. I want to hear what you think. If you enjoyed today's episode, please continue listening and rate what it's really like to be an entrepreneur 5 stars. I work really hard to find value delivering stories for you on each episode. And as always, I will end the show and follow the last word with a quote that inspired me, and I know it will for you too. Let's light tomorrow with today. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode of What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur.